Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another CD update, and as you can tell from the title, it's pretty much thrash from down under. So recently I picked up a few albums from two Australian thrash bands that I wanted to showcase and talk a little bit about, because I don't really hear too many people talking about these guys within their videos. So yeah, hopefully this shines a bit of light onto these two bands. But anyway, before we get into those, I do have another non-Aussie thrash band album to show you, and that is Testament with this CD, the Spitfire Collection. I have no knowledge of this CD whatsoever. I didn't even know that this existed before coming across it on eBay. This was about $10, so not a bad price. And this is just a compilation album of some of their live tracks and non-live tracks. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know too much about this release. I have no idea if it's uncommon or hard to find, but still, I wanted it for the Testament collection, so I thought this was a pretty cool pickup. But yeah, if anyone has more info on this, definitely let me know. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's move on to the Aussie thrash now. So album number one is from a 90s band called Allegiance, and this is their debut album from 1994, Destitution. Now these guys were really short-lived. They only released 2 albums. Their second album came a couple of years after this in 1996, called Skin Man, and that album is harder to find than this one. I haven't actually listened to that album yet, so I can't give an opinion on this, but if this album's anything to go by, Skin Man hopefully is really good, because this is killer stuff, especially for a 90s thrash album. This is really, really good. Traditional thrash sound, you know, vocally, lyrically, they're really good, and drumming and guitar-wise, they're also really, really good. So if you've never heard of these guys before, I definitely recommend checking them out. This CD should be pretty easy to pick up. This is the Digibook or Digipack reissue. Basically identical packaging to the Creator reissue, so if you're familiar with those, you know what those look like. This is the same thing. But yeah, if you've never heard of this band and this album, I definitely highly recommend it. So that's Allegiance with Destitution. Now the next band that I'm going to talk about, I have a few more albums from them, and they're a little bit more well known, so perhaps you've heard of these guys, and that is Destroyer 666. Now these guys have been around since the late 90s and they're still going. I still need to pick up their debut album Unchain the Wolves, but this is the follow-up, Phoenix Rising, which is really, really good. One big thing about this band is they are really consistent from album to album. They haven't released a bad album in my opinion. These guys are blackened thrash, so a mixture of black metal and thrash metal obviously, and really, really good. It works really well. Some of you may know that I'm not a big fan of black metal, but when it comes to this sort of stuff, blackened thrash, I do like it. And this is the next album, Cold Steel, which is really, really good as well. The next album is probably my favourite. It's certainly the most thrashiest in my opinion, and that is Defiance. Absolutely killer album. This is probably the most well-known album, I guess, and that is Wildfire. This one came out 2 years ago, and this is also really, really good. And they recently released an EP earlier this year, which is also really good, Call of the Wild, and I absolutely love the artwork on this one. Awesome colour scheme and artwork. This is just a 4-track EP, but again, really, really good. So there you go. That's been my quick CD update. I definitely wanted to quickly talk a little bit about the two Australian thrash bands, so Allegiance and Destroyer 666. If you're familiar with any of these albums or the bands, definitely let me know what you think of them in the comments section below. And yeah, that's it for this update. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.